Hey everyone, this will be my first ever complete food forest tour, and this is spring 2020. So we're actually under sort of a lockdown right now for the COVID virus. So perfect time to do this. Hopefully the weather will hold up. Looks like we're getting our first rain in months. So I'm trying to catch in between the storms here. So let's get started. What I'm going to do is walk around, starting up kind of towards the house, and then I'm just going to do a big loop around the whole property. Not going to catch everything, but I'll try to get a pretty good example of everything. And starting right here, we have a date palm or jelly palm. So this is an edible palm tree. It makes little berries that can be made into typically into a jam. I suppose there's a few other things you can do with it, but that's the primary thing people use it for. This is a passion vine, passion fruit. So this is one of the first plants I put in here. And I kind of got it unexpectedly, so I built this little support here real quick for it. Just a couple of landscape posts stuck in. I put some welded wire on the front and across the top, and it's grown really well. It's flowered a couple times, but I have not received any fruit from it yet. So I'm hoping, I planted a few more around this year, so hoping I can get some cross-pollination and that it will fruit this year. We're actually on the side of the property. This is closest to my neighbor's house. And this is also my mulch drop zone. So here's a mulch pile I have right now, or tree chippings, I guess a better word for it. And to put it in perspective, I started over there with the jelly palm, and we will come through here. So again, this is just kind of an open area, and then we start getting into some of the pathways. This is a Jamaican cherry, also known as a strawberry tree. This is done very well, and they fruit about 8 or 9 months out of the year. Get close, you can see there's little fruits all over this thing. They should be ripening real soon. You can probably see the flowers on there too. So not only does it have a lot of fruits that are getting to be decent sized. Now they only get to be the size of a large marble. They taste like strawberry cotton candy. That's how it's often described, and it's pretty accurate. But there's got to be a couple thousand fruits on this. Now when they do ripen, I have to compete with the squirrels to get the fruit. But it's just one of my favorite all around. Just come out here and snack on this. And then we've got a June plum. This thing is absolutely loaded with fruit. Now when I bought this and put it in, it was really small. So I didn't let it fruit for the first 8 or 9 months. It's been in the ground a little over a year, I guess. So I kept pulling off the buds, trying to encourage it just to grow, and it did. And then I let it go ahead and fruit, and it just filled with fruit. So it's doing really well. It tries to fruit all year. So if you're looking for something that will fruit year-round, check out a June plum. So this is a first path we're going to take. We're actually walking to the north towards the main road. There's a little background noise today because they're doing some construction on the road. I've got katuk here. There's some daikon radish. You'll see those growing all over the place. I've got some papaya growing back there, some all kinds of different stuff. This is a giant mulberry. So it's doing pretty nice. Big leaves. I've had to trim this one a lot. It keeps trying to cross branches, but I think I finally got it under control. But let me see if I can demonstrate the size of a leaf here. So you can see this leaf next to my hand. That's got to be over a foot long. Very large leaf. You can see all the fruit on there. A lot of random vegetables, leafy greens. Got some Okinawa spinach going there. Recently planted this. So this is some Jerusalem artichokes, also known as sunchokes. So they're just starting to come up. Now people tell me, or I've read, that they absolutely take over. This is my third attempt. I did it twice last year, they just died off. So this year I've got them in a shady area, some better soil. Right next to it there's some cranberry hibiscus, some more papaya. Got a mango here. And let me see what variety this is. I don't remember all of them. That's Valencia Pride. That plant right now is about 3.5, 4 feet tall. Here's some Sisu spinach. Got a Mamie sapote. Again, about 4 feet tall. I'm going to mention a lot of these heights because I'm going to do a fall walkthrough. We can kind of see what kind of progress there's been. Got some kale growing there, some Mexican sunflower, and then this is one of my just yard bins for putting all the debris in. Now I'm back on the same path. I've got some aloe here. Now I've got Suriname cherry all up and down this path here. But when you get in this little section, I've got an ice cream bean. So that's very small still. It's only about 1 foot tall. But all around it, right there, got a little baby one there. These are chaya. There's chaya there. There's a stick there. That's chaya. And if you come across the path, there's chaya there, all around. So let me step back. See, I've got a lot of wood chips down here. So what I've got the chaya. It's on the right and the left. I'm trying to be a little clever here. This is going to be my great wall of chaya. Like that, don't you? Okay. So let's go down the path. There's some potatoes I stuck in the ground. Those were just pantry potatoes that started sprouting and stinking. So I got them started there. Got a little patch of ginger here. And here's some bananas. Now, this is kind of a shady area, so these, they aren't doing the greatest. But they've flowered a couple times. There's some bananas on them. More papaya, got a pineapple there. So I'm at the front edge of the property. So we go from a basically a field fence back there to this white 3-rail farm fence. It goes back 40 feet, then it goes across the front of the property. And across the whole front, I've put tree chippings. Now the plan is that this will eventually be bougainvillea and other flowering stuff, but for now, I don't want to spend any money right now because I don't know if I'll have a job in a week or two. But I planted Mexican sunflower, so all along here. So I'll let that start establishing, start chopping, dropping it, and that'll build this soil up. So hopefully when it's time for bougainvilleas, they'll do really well. So this is what I call one of my little islands. I know it's kind of hard to see because there's so much stuff on the ground. But there's basically a path on either side of this. And I do these little islands to contain things. So you can kind of see it here, the whole island. The only thing really on it right now is the fern. But I run the lawnmower around the island, and that's going to keep that fern from getting out of control. Keep it contained to that area. So continuing on. Again, we're in a shady area. So I've got some moringa, I've got a fig. Not doing the greatest here, but not dying either. There's a very small loquat. That's those 2 little leaves you see on the ground. Some lemongrass. Got a bottle brush over here. Now let's look back towards the front. Got a Barbados cherry. This is one that I started from seed. from my Barbados cherry. That's the first one I bought. I'm going to go up here towards the driveway. So right now we're basically in the northwest corner of the property. I have Royal Poinciana. If you're not familiar with that, it's a soil builder, nitrogen fixer. Gets to be huge, drops its leaves in the winter, little tiny leaves. But I did one on each side of the driveway, and the idea is that these are going to canopy the driveway when they get bigger. Next to them, on each side, there's a powder puff. So this will stay as a large bush. The Royal Poinciana gets a lot of flowers, and then this will also flower. Here's my vision for the future for this. I'm going to end up with about 15 feet of grass on either side of the driveway. And then the grass will wrap around the house and halfway around the pond and back. And that'll be it. Everything outside of that will be food forest. It'll be wood chips, no maintenance. Here's a little guava. This is a Mexican cream guava. Got a avocado over here. This is a, which one was this? I want to say a bacon. No, Brogdon. This is a Brogdon avocado. And it's suffered a little bit of deer damage. The deer come in here and rub their antlers on it. And then that's an Atamoya, which is very similar to a sugar apple. Which over here, I have a sugar apple. So this plant here is a sugar apple. It's a little hard to see since it's green and the background is green. It's about the same as the others that we were looking at, about 4 feet tall. So I'm hoping it fills out this year. It has fruited though. It did give me some fruit last year. Got a sour sop. Didn't like the cooler weather this year, but it seems to be coming back. And then this is a Kerry mango. It's one of the smaller mango trees. Right now it's about 7-8 foot tall. It does fruit. However, the squirrels have beat me to it. Hopefully this year I'm going to try to protect some of the fruit. You can see the little mangoes there starting. So I'm hoping to actually be able to use some of them this year. So that was northwest. Now we're going to go northeast. This little island area, I've just mulched it in. It's got some lemongrass. I have some Tabasco peppers growing in there. Haven't really put much in the way of edibles in there yet. Here's the bacon avocado. Now this has had extensive deer damage. Every time I think it's recovering, somehow they get back in and they chew the leaves up. This thing has just been through it. You see the damage to the bark there. Should say missing bark. Now this tree is about 6 feet high. All that new growth is above the graft. So that is true bacon avocado. So I'm keeping this tree around. If nothing else, it's going to be a graft donor. So I'll use it on some of the rootstock I'm raising. I have a couple coconut trees here. And an olive that I just staked up, so it looks a little funny. It's still reaching for the sun in the wrong direction. This is about just under 6 feet tall. I've got a fig here. This is the first fig I planted. It's just gotten smaller every year. Definitely not a good zone for it. I did take some cuttings though, so I've propagated it. This is a Nero fig, and they tend to produce a couple times a year. This is a mango that a neighbor gave me that they started from a seed. It's about 5 foot tall right now. It's doing pretty good. So no idea what kind of fruit we'll get from that. It's an ever-bearing mulberry. getting close to the road, so you might be able to hear the construction vehicles. The deer have damaged this one a lot too. Now it's loaded with fruit. You can see all the fruit on there. Just loaded. But, like I said, the deer have hit this several times. Kind of hard to see through this cover I've got, but there's only about 20, maybe 30% of width of bark still intact on there. But again, I use this. I take cuttings and I've propagated it several times. So as long as it's willing to grow, I'll keep it going. As far as getting fruit from it, I really have to compete with the birds. So that's hit or miss. Still walking along the front edge here. Got some longevity spinach growing, some more radish, another papaya. Got some bromeliads. I've got a few patches of these. People tend to throw these away around here. So I'll see them in a trash pile and just go grab them and throw them on the ground and they grow. Some people say they attract mosquitoes because they hold water, but I haven't really seen that to be the case. This stick-looking thing was supposed to be an ever-bearing mulberry. And I guess since it's so close to the front, the deer keep chomping it away too. And let's go. We are now on the east, northeast, front corner. Here's some chaya. And this is the variety that is better for pollinators. See all the flowers it has on it. Look down the side of the property here. Got a nice air plant going there. I've got a lot of those. I didn't put them there, they just grow naturally. This is a curry leaf tree. Very unique flavor. And the tree makes these berries too. Just really hard to describe the flavor. I wouldn't call it curry flavored, but it's definitely unique. This is another Barbados cherry. Again, grown from seed from my first plant that I bought. Doing pretty good, roughly 4 feet tall. This is a fairly new island. So I've got some plants in there, pollinators, for attracting pollinators. Got some Mexican sunflower going in there too. That's a blue porterweed. Dragon fruit. I've done videos on this. So this was the first support that I built. Still doing well, but the deer have gotten to that one too. Doesn't seem to have killed it. It's like a root now. It dried up and it's connected. And there's been no sign of the plant dying other than a little splotchiness on the main trunk there, but this is a total of 4 different plants here. It's doing quite well. Got a tropical almond here. I also have one in front of the property. Just a really cool tree. Yeah, you can eat the seed, tastes like an almond, but it's like cracking open a coconut. Just not worth the trouble. This was chaya, well it is chaya, but it was growing as a tree and it blew over last year. So I just tipped it back up, cut it down, and it's starting to sprout a whole bunch of new leaves. Looking good. Over on the side here, we're on the east side. This is a coral tree. It's a Florida native. Great for attracting pollinators. Got quite a few of those going. Mexican sunflower. And then in this little grouping, I've got a bunch of pineapple. Some more of the daikon radish. This is a pomegranate here. I've heard mixed results on those from people. So more pineapple, more papaya. And then I do have one Kind of neat tree over here. Just following my pathways. By the way, I didn't plant any of this grass. The only grass that was put in was right around the house. This just spread. This it's called a canistel, or egg fruit. It's a little hard to see against the daikon radish that's growing next to it. It's about 3 feet tall. So it makes a fruit, looks like an egg. So that's why they call it the egg fruit. Now this almost died. I had it out in the sun and it didn't do very well. So I transplanted it here. Seems to be much happier. And I'm gonna go down this side and then we'll look at the chicken and ducks, and that will be it for this video. I don't want it to get too long. And I will do part 2 as a separate video. Now this mango is doing really well. This is a Kent. That's about 8 feet tall. Hasn't fruited yet. I'm thinking it's gonna fruit this year. Now this is another Barbados cherry. As you can see, we're along the side of the house right now. And this is also about 8 feet tall. I did buy this one. So I've purchased 2 Barbados cherries. This was the second one. And it's doing good. More pollinator-friendly plants. This is a red wax jambu. It's about 5 feet tall right now. Purchased it last year. By the way, all my trees, I try to make these little signs. I put different information, always the name. Sometimes I'll put the scientific name. In this case, it's where I bought it and when I bought it. And you can see all my trees have tomatoes growing around them. Give credit to the chickens for that. They eat a lot of tomatoes and they poop them out, and I put their bedding around the trees. This is black sapote. It's again about 8 feet tall. You see all that light green leaves on there, that's all new. So it's really happy that the weather's warmed up, and it looks like it's going to fruit heavily. See all those flowers everywhere. So I'm hoping to get some fruit off this year. If it does, I'll probably only leave maybe 10 fruit on it because it's not a huge tree. And here we are by the chicken coop. So we've now stepped into the back of the property. It's the back of the house. There's the pond. I dug that pond. Used that dirt to raise up some areas. Built this chicken coop. I'll do another video. We'll kind of walk through all the coop features. What's worked out well, what hasn't. See all the girls there? We don't let them out roam the yard anymore, except maybe for an hour right before sunset, because I built this chicken run. And every night, well, every morning, that back door opens, lets them into this run. And then like half an hour after sunset, that door automatically closes. The coop is really secure. There's a concrete ring around there that goes a foot down. But the chicken run is not so secure. It's just like a 2x8 board sitting on the ground. And then recently, I put this divider in here, put a door there, and brought in the ducks. Now, if you saw my other video, they were ducklings. That was only a couple weeks ago. They have grown. We've left this door open every day for the last few days. They'll roam a little bit, but they really feel secure staying in their area. Looks like they're gonna come out and visit. So they've taken over half the chicken run. Now on the top of the run, I do have some shade cloth, help protect them. They have this temporary house that I built. Then I dump out this pool every morning, fill it back with water. So I got the hose right there. Now here's something I need to update. A lot of this is clover. So I did some videos about my clover lawn, and I've tried a few other things. The clover didn't really take in the sunny areas, but this area stays pretty cool, and it's actually doing well. And the chickens have stuck their heads through, and they eat the clover that they can reach. They might even be doing it, getting ready to do it now. Maybe not. So anyways, this is the back side of the coop. So, that's looking towards the front of the property. That's where we just came from. The house, pond, back of the property. So, that's where I'm going to start part 2. See you then.